Over time, more than 20,000 people have been killed in Boko Haram's killing campaign aimed at establishing a caliphate in the Lake Chad Basin. Despite the Nigerian military's success in liberating cities and towns, nearly 1.5 million people are believed to be on the brink of famine. TVC News' Omotayo Shobiton tells us more.
The year 2016 started on a wrong note for residents of Izazeki village in northern Nigeria close to Sambisa Forest. As 6 days into the new year, Boko Haram gunmen killed at least 2 people. The gunmen chased fleeing civilians, and another militant armed with suicide belts blew himself up near markets, killing 5 people. 8 more attacks from the terrorist organization happened between Nigeria's northeast and northern Cameroon. More than 200 people were killed and several injured in January 2016. In February, 2 Boko Haram suicide bombers attacked a Muslim funeral gathering in northern Cameroon. 6 civilians were killed and another 30 wounded. It is the first known Boko Haram strike in Cameroon at a funeral gathering. Residents in Kachifa and Yakshari were also not spared. A total of 120 people died and yet again several injured. The number of casualties increased as Boko Haram fighters attacked Umarari village on the outskirts of Maiduguri. They also raided the remote village of Tumpum. 6 soldiers of the Niger Armed Forces were killed and 3 others wounded in southeastern Niger in an attack attributed to Nigerian Islamist Boko Haram. The rest of the year 2016 was the same as the terrorists continued to carry out attacks mainly on villages and towns in the northeast of the country. A Boko Haram attack in Borno State was also repelled by the Nigerian Army. January 2017, Boko Haram attacked a Nigerian Army base in Borno Yadi, Yobe State, killing at least 5 soldiers. 15 Boko Haram militants were also killed after the army launched retaliatory strikes. Last month, 9 Chadian soldiers were killed in a Boko Haram attack on an army post in the Lake Chad region. About 40 Boko Haram fighters were killed as the army responded to the attack on Keiga posts. 9 soldiers and 26 people were killed in May and many injured. June 2nd, 2 suicide bombers attacked a camp for those displaced by Boko Haram violence in the region, killing 11 people. 8 people were killed and several others injured in a suicide attack that followed the suspected Boko Haram assault on Maiduguri Wednesday evening. The attack was Boko Haram's most serious assault on Maiduguri in almost 2 years and comes 6 months after the Nigerian government announced the technical defeat of the group. Omotayo Shobiton, TVC News.
Now, the Leprosy Mission of Nigeria says at least 160 new cases of leprosy were recorded in Sokoto State in the last 1 year.
Operations Manager Pius Ogbu made the disclosure at an advocacy seminar in Sokoto. He says the new cases were mostly recorded in KEBBE, GUDU and RABAH local government areas of the state. Medical practitioner Tuyi Mebawondu joins us now to share his thoughts on this. Many thanks for joining us. It's such a sad situation, 160 this year, and we know Nigeria has a record of about 4,000 every year. That's a staggering number.
Yeah, quite depressing. You know, 1948, more than 70 years ago, Sweden finally closed the last leprosarium, where you keep leprosy patients. So 70 years down the line, we've not been able to really, you know, advance and learn any lessons. And essentially, if you look at this resurgence of leprosy, because that's what we call it now, it's resurgence of leprosy. We're still straddling some core northern states, northwest part, and the northwest, northeast part of the northern state. And then we also have a lot of other endemic diseases and epidemics coming up, even in that area. So now, what does this tell us? We should not, again, look down at leprosy and say that, yeah, it's just leprosy, nothing's going to happen. Because we cannot, again, wake up and experience the resurgence of leprosy. The reasons are obvious. Leprosy is slow-growing, caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium leprae, slow-growing, deform the person, and create a lot of stigmatization. Yes, there are drugs that can deal with leprosy, but we've not been able to deal with all those issues that ensure that tend to perpetuate leprosy in community. We're looking at overcrowding. We're looking at poor health system. We're looking at poor diagnostic ability, even in those areas. And then let us appreciate the fact that even leprosy can, you know, can change, can mutate. the germ can mutate and then become a weapon in the hand of people that are interested in chemical warfare. So these are some of the issues we need to honestly...
I think we shouldn't let that out.
Okay.
That should be a secret.
But if I were to look at this matter critically, from what you just said, you said the disease, it can spread. It can go to other countries, other states in the north. Now, what are the worst case scenarios? Do you see this disease coming down south, even though it is predominantly in the north? And to my understanding, the disease is known to be a disease of the poor. Could you explain what that is? And does it really mean poor diet, or does it mean the lifestyle, or what exactly does it entail?
It's a pointer to the poor planning and poor health system. At the base of this disease, is the fact that once you have poor housing plan, once you have overcrowding, once you have stigmatization, when you have a poor health system that cannot respond and help to identify cases early, then it becomes a problem. When you have children that cannot really be taken away from their parents, because you need a prolonged contact to pick tuberculosis, to pick leprosy from one person. Okay, and then who are the people that are in close contact? Their children. So what you are doing essentially is to really challenge their life, give them disadvantage from childhood. Because by the time you start seeing those patches, by the time you start seeing the skin manifestation, you'll be surprised it's getting late. And before you know it, there's auto-amputation. Before you know it, there's deformities, there are nerve damages, and then lo and behold, the child is deformed forever and will further be stigmatized. And then this practice of having to create leprosorium, where you have to separate leprosy patients from the community, I don't think is fair. Because you see, there are more violent diseases that we left, with people in the society. As long as we appreciate the fact that, just casual meeting a leprous patient will not transmit the disease to you, and as long as we're ready to share and empathize with them and feel them and then help them, we're going to honestly address the issue. Another key issue is that government seems not to be interested in leprosy. They seem to be overwhelmed with other diseases like meningitis. They are overwhelmed with other diseases like cholera, and even have to immunize. Well, good, rightly so. They can be, challenged with those things. But these tiny things that kept simmering. I've just told you now, Sweden, 1948, closed the last leprosorium. So honestly, it's an indictment, one, of our healthcare system, two, of our human resources for health, three, of funding for health. So, and then for our ability to now stand up and not be counted among the dregs of the world in terms of simple communicable diseases that can be prevented.
Malnutrition also plays a part in this, absolutely. When it's termed a poor person's disease, that means people they don't have enough immune system to tackle the disease. Is that correct? And
absolutely.
And then how do we tackle depression and anxiety in people who have suffered this? They always seem abandoned. We see them on the streets begging. How can we tackle depression and anxiety?
It's shameful because, again, we must not make it a disease of discrimination. It's just an infectious disease like even ordinary bacterial infection. Okay, but what separates this is the fact that the slow growing and the fact that it auto-amputates. And also there's a cultural and religious setting to it. The discrimination has been since ages. Every skin rash is claimed to be leprosy in some of the holy books. So, the discrimination has been there all the while. So now the best thing is for us to start seeing how to address the discrimination. Secondly, we need to step up what I would call a quick diagnosis and how to actually care for those people and retrain them into skills that can make them to be useful, because you cannot grow the arms again. Well, malnutrition, you won't be surprised why we're having those kind of things in other parts of Nigeria. Because let's look at it. The place is home to malnutrition, is home to a lot of epidemics from meningitis to polio and quite a lot of things. And then it seems that the government is kind of disconnected from the people. As long as you cannot really touch those people in terms of their nutrition, in terms of their health, and then you are likely going to incubate a lot of infectious diseases. Then finally, if you look at the human resources for health, the northern part of Nigeria is suffering, it's an acute emergency. Because you look at that place, like I said in one of the occasions, that if you look at Zamfara State, the total number of health workers they have in their service is about 1,300. And lo and behold, 80% of that are fake. So you can imagine. So where are you going to get people that's going to make diagnosis? So we should now stand up and declare state of emergency as far as health is concerned. We don't really seem to connect health to well-being of a nation. We don't seem to connect health to, proper growth and development of a nation. We don't seem to connect health to productivity. Everybody seems to be, hanging somewhere, looking for how to import one technology or import one thing from abroad, without linking, without developing health system that can absorb all those things and let us grow. So you want to address the challenge of the nation, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, you need to put a lot into the healthcare system. It's shameful that we're still having leprosy in 2017.
And we hope to get it tackled and on time too. Thanks a lot, Dr. Tuyi Mebawondu, for all you've said on the news.
My pleasure.